Once in Moscow, I was getting ready, it was time to give the class, and I said, "Are there any questions?" And one man raised his hand, he said, "Can you tell us about the relationship between the ancient Russian, Russo Slavic culture and the Vedas?" And I said, I'm not here to speak about that. And he said, "Well, excuse me," and he held up this card we'd printed, and he said, "It says on here that tonight you're going to be giving a lecture on the relationship between the ancient, culture of Russia and the Vedas." So I'm like, "I'm sorry, that's why I came." And I said, "Oh, because we have some devotees who can speak about that. I'm not one of them." And so I said, I had to think, what am I going to say? So I said, "Of course you know everything there is to know about the ancient Russian culture and Slavic culture. So let me say something about Veda culture." That you already know. So this is an excellent question, and it's a very important question, and really, in one sense, it's the question. And as usual, as always, if we look to Srila Guru Maharaj, we can respond, hopefully, with something substantial. Sometimes Srila Gurudev, he would share his joy of being the disciple of Srila Guru Maharaj, how happy he was to be Srila Guru Maharaj's disciple. And we know he's not just his disciple, even though that is a very wonderful appellation, but he's, the disciple of Srila Guru Maharaj. But the reason I mention this is because sometimes he would share stories about different situations, something had happened, whatever it might be, and then Guru Maharaj would give a particular response, a determination, a judgment, quote something, weigh in, assess it, give his opinion. And Gurudev would say, "We know that whatever Srila Guru Maharaj said is perfect. So it's easy for us to walk it back from Srila Guru Maharaj's perfect determination or expression." Now again, on this point, quoting Srila Guru Maharaj, he would say, every disciple, they say, "Mad Guru si Jagat Guru." Means, my Guru's Jagat Guru, my Guru's perfect. Every disciple will express that, and they have a right, excuse me, a right to express that. And this sort of thing excuse me, is addressed in the Ramananda Samvad. Is that another one? How many do we have now? 3 different distinct ones? Okay. We have the tick-ticky lizard. Yeah, Then what was the other one? What do they say in Thai? Uh-oh, uh-oh. We've got them. And then this one. So they're all coming to the class. And that's one thing we have to say about they all 3 of them go to the class every evening. Right? So they're accumulating heaps of sukriti. As Parikshit Maharaj said to Sukadev Goswami. This sloka, Srila Prabhupada would like to quote it very much. It's about the cowherd boys of Vrindavan. He really liked this sloka. What is it? Itam satam brahma sukhana bhutya dasam gatanam paradevatena mayasritanam. I don't know where the Naradara Kena part comes in. Dari something. Then Sakam bijahru krita punya punya. Saying, what did they do? What type of punya do they have that they're playing with Krishna as friends? These cowherd boys having these intimate pastimes. As we said recently, sometimes the Braja Gopis express their like jealousy. Generally we say nirmatsaranam satam, this is the disqualification from entrance into Vaishnavism substantial and Krishna conception proper is being envious of a devotee, because it's a reflection upon being envious of the supreme devotee, Srimati Radharani herself, aparadha, against her, not appreciating her. This isolated position is a fictitious one. Those who praise Krishna and not Radharani or the Asraya Vigraha, or by extension, Guru, Bhakta, devotee, have no real devotion. It's a show. So they're asking there, Parikshit Maharaj is saying, they're playing with Krishna, wrestling, putting food in one another's mouths. What did they do to get that position? And he uses the word punya, and Vishwanath Chakrabarti will say, it couldn't be punya. Because punya means like doing good things, right? Right? You know, sometimes you could say humanitarian, altruistic work, things like that, which is all right in its own right or realm, but that it's not by accumulating heaps of that sort of activity that you get to play with Krishna. Right? So, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Avitamahi Kriyatamidi Kutopi na Labhyate Tatra Molyam Tatra Mulam Tatra Lolyam Mulam Ekalam Tatra Lolyam Mulam Ekalam Janmakoti Sukritayar na Labhyate Janmakoti Sukritai Sukriti Janmakoti 10 million births of doing the right thing won't get you that position. Right? Yadvanchana Sri Lalana Charatapo. Mahaprabhu told Venkata, Bhatta, and prodding him why Lakshmi Devi wants rasa with Krishna. Lakshmi Devi, the consort of Narayana. Why does she want to rasa with Krishna? Yadvanchana Sri Lalana Charatapo, that she performed austerities for so many lifetimes and still couldn't. The goddess of fortune with all her wealth could not buy a ticket for the rasa dance. Why? Swarup Damodar tells in another context, in the Hara Panchami, she doesn't have the adhikar. Lakshmi Devi doesn't have the adhikar to enter the intimate pastimes of Krishna. We take these things for granted because we hear about them so almost in a casual way at times. But if we look carefully, scrutinizing, we see Lakshmi Devi. Try to whisper a little bit. Yeah. Lakshmi Devi, who doesn't have the wealth. Metaphorically speaking, it's a very beautiful metaphor. Doesn't have the wealth you can't buy your way in there with that. What is it? Mahaprabhu himself gives the answer by saying, Gopi, not only Gopi Deho, Gopi Bhav and Gopi Deho, the mood, but as Guru Maharaj, when pressed on this word Bhav, he said heart. Really, Bhav means the heart. The heart, and the Deho is an outcome of the heart. And I'm told that the body, in the mundane sense, is the biological expression of the soul's delusion. Right? Mahamaya, expression. But the Swarup is the counterpart of that, the biological expression of Yogamaya. Right? It means of the not exploiting tendency, but the dedicating tendency. So the real answer there, Vishwanath is saying, is it's not punya in the normal sense, but the sort of love and affection that they've developed for Krishna, right, over so many lifetimes. Increased dedication, increased dedicating tendency. When Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys enter the arena of Kamsa in Mathura, the Mathura ladies, Lavanyasara Masamordha Anandasiddhim Drigbi Pibantu Nusabha Binavam Darapam Ekanta Dama Yashashi Aishwarasya, what did he say? Lavanyasaram, what is the first line? Gopyastapakya Yadamusha Rupam. They're saying, what did the gopis do? Now that they're seeing Krishna for a moment, immediately they're appreciating those who see Krishna incessantly. Right? They're not thinking, oh, my good fortune, how great I must be. What the yogis strive for, others, now Krishna is being held my eyes. Immediately they're thinking of the good fortune of the Braja Gopis. Gopyastapakya macharanyarima. Did they do some kind of special austerities that they get to look at Krishna incessantly? Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, he says that in one instance, when the Braja Gopis see that, like, even the trees in Vrindavan, I want to say about jealousy, or because Gurudev said in the famous song of Narottam Thakur, he's talking about lobha matsarja, lust, kam, lobh, moha, matsarja, the disqualifications. Then he says, well, your anger, your krodh, like Hanuman, he engages anger toward the opposition to recover. See, that's how you can engage your, channel that. And he mentions all these different things, how the Braja Gopis calm, and all these different things. But Gurudev would say, but interestingly, there's no parallel there for jealousy, envy. Doesn't say how you can engage your envy. It's interesting. But the trees of Vrindavan when Krishna enters the forest of Balaram, the trees are like trying to touch the lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna knows not better than to glorify himself, and he'll say, look, Balaram, how they're bending over to receive you and offer you their fruits. Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur will say that the trees, they're thinking, we're so sinful, we took our births as trees, and on account of that, we can't play with Krishna in the forest like the cowherd boys. But again, he's pointing out, to be a tree in Vrindavan is not the result of a sinful birth. Again, in the Ramananda Samvad, when they're talking about what happens to Mayavadis, Stavra, Jangama, they take birth as trees, mountains, you know, so they get to live for thousands of years or millions of years in some unchanging state. And that's the answer Ramananda gives Mahaprabhu. So these trees saying, oh, on account of our sinful birth, we've taken birth as trees. And Krishna is going by with the cowherd boys. We don't get to join in the fun, the play. But that's a sort of divine, an expression of divine lamentation. And they're worshipable. Kalpavriksha, Kalpataru, desire trees, everything there. Raghunath Das Goswami says, Yat kinchit trigu makikata mukam goshte samastam hitat sarvananda mayam ukulanam lilanukulam puram shastar eva muhur utamitam nishtankinam yashnaya brahmadi apisa sprihena. Mukunda doita, that's what he says. They're all, he says, the trees, the insects, the birds, everything in Vrindavan, they're all Mukunda doita. They're all dear to Mukunda, to Krishna, because Lilanukul, they're favorable for the pastimes. So, Chakrabarti Thakur again points out the bees, they're humming, but then sometimes you listen carefully, the humming turns into singing. They're singing the glories of Krishna. So even, it's mystical and peculiar, even in very intimate pastimes where no one can go, the bees, they can go, the insects, they can go and participate on some level. So it says, so what is it? You don't see any yogis in Vrindavan. So Vishwanath says, yeah, it's because if someone knows how to really meditate on the pastimes of Krishna, then they can become a leaf, a flower, a bee, that's who they are. That's how they appear there. These great, the greatest meditators of all time, who can think incessantly of the pastimes of Krishna. They wouldn't trade that position. Jarje rase hoise sarutam. Ramananda tells Mahaprabhu in their dialogue that whatever rasa you're tasting, one is tasting, they think it's the best. They wouldn't trade it for anything. When Srila Saraswati Thakur was offered prasadam, and the different devotees made different preparations. So naturally they want to know, maybe there's one he likes the best. So some servant would say, which one do you like the best? And he said, each one tastes better than the other one. And what he means to say is, when you're tasting that, you think, what could possibly be better than this? But someone else might say, did you taste the other? You taste that? What could be better than this? So the second half says, tatasta vichar. If we engage in a impartial analysis, not mad guru si jaguru, my guru is the best guru. But if we look at this, and this taste is the best taste, there's nothing higher, nothing sweeter, nothing better than this. If we engage in an impartial analysis, it says, then we'll see that Madhura rasa is the best. It is the sweetest. And it contains all the flavors and the taste of all the other ones. We can say that. Rupa Goswami can say that. Ramananda, Vishaka, Saki can say that. Right? And Mahaprabhu can accept that. But the beauty of the spiritual world, again, is whatever they're tasting, they're totally satisfied with that, not hankering for any more. Today, Shyamananda Prabhu is on the calendar, that previously, it's a very rare occurrence, very rare instance, but he was initiated into Sakyarasa. Just as we have initiation in this plane. There's also Ragamarg Diksha, where someone who's in the Bhava Bhakti stage, etc., they'll be initiated into a particular rasa. So his guru was Hridaya Chaitanya. He initiates, who was a cowherd boy, descended into this world in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. He's initiated into Sakya rasa. What is, just as a footnote, lest someone get the wrong idea, we said, well, what is the qualification for that? Guru said, Bhava Bhakti. If you look at Bhava Bhakti on Rupa Goswami's sequence, 24 hours absorption in Krishna consciousness, even in your sleep, even in your dreams. And then there's 9 other parts. But, just to put that out there. So what is Bhava Bhakti? The right before Krishna Prem, when the Bhav Ankur, what was the Bhakti Lata beads, the seed has sprouted, blossomed into a flower, so now it has fragrance. The devotion of that devotee has a particular enchanting, sweet fragrance to it that Krishna finds attractive. So we can understand it's a very high stage. So in that position, there's no mistake. The layers, Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, the layers, acquired prejudice and ego, they're vanished, and the Swarup starts peeping through, and the Guru can identify. The Ragamarg Diksha Guru can identify. He was initiated in the Sakya Rasa. But what is the will of Krishna? Sometimes Guru Maharaj uses the expression designed and destined. What is designed and destined? Krishner Icha, the will of Krishna. The impossible becomes possible. It's living, growing, dynamic reality, loving relationship. So, Shyaman Nanda Prabhu, he's in Vrindavan and moving in the plain of Vrindavan, he finds a nupur, which means ankle, like bracelet, an anklet. And it has some mysterious pull, draw. So he takes it, ties it up in his cloth, he's going on. After some time, some girl comes who's very anxiously looking this way and that way, as if searching for something. And he flags her attention. She says, my mistress was here last evening and lost a nupur, an anklet. And I'm trying to find, we're very much in anxiety about that. And he opens up his cloth. He's is this the nupur? Is this? And he says, oh, she's so happy. And she takes it, and then she presses it to his forehead, and he becomes imbued with Madhura Rasa sentiments. So although he'd been legitimately initiated into Sakya Rasa, a cowherd boy, she presses this nupur to his forehead, and suddenly he's imbued with the sentiments of a Braja Gopi. And it also makes a tilak mark on his forehead. And the girl vanishes. Then he returns to his devotee group and they see he's not wearing the same tilak that everyone else is wearing. So, and the Guru calls him in, what is this? And perhaps before that, he goes to Jiva Goswami for some verification, and Jiva Goswami acknowledges this is real and substantial, and they're calling the followers of Hridaya Chaitanya, they're calling Jiva Goswami for explanation, hearing that he's saying, but Shyamananda Prabhu goes, and the Guru's chastising him, all the devotees, they're upset, you know. He's telling them his sentiments have changed. And they say, and also, what is this tilak? Why aren't you wearing the tilak that, like we all wear? And he's telling, well, remove it. And he's off, the Guru tells, remove that. He tells, try and remove it. They try to remove the tilak and it's still there. And then that Guru, he's getting he's real. He's not a bogus person. He's substantial. He's getting some inspiration. You can see, in the upper world, Lalita Saki, right? Radharani's right arm, personal attendant, Swarup Damar, Lalita Saki in that world, goes to Subal, the leader of the highest group of cowherd boys, and they meet. And she tells him, we're taking this one. This cowherd boy there, we're taking him for our group. And he will undergo some transformation. And Subal is, Hare Krishna. So then it was adjusted. So